สวัสดีค่ะ Welcome to Hot Thai Kitchen. Today I have yet another great appetizer finger food recipe for you. We're gonna make curry puffs, or in Thai we call kari pap. Now I'm making an easy version today because instead of having to make two different doughs and do all sorts of crazy things to wrap it, we're just gonna use spring roll wrappers, which makes it so much easier, but it's still just as delicious. So a little fun fact about the name kari pap. Kari is short for pong kari, which is our term for curry powder. But I'd be careful throwing that word around on the street because kari is also a slang for prostitute. So now that we've got that out of the way, let's get started. So I'm going to make first the filling, and the main ingredients for the filling is chicken and sweet potato. I am using ground chicken, but I actually ground this one myself because I prefer dark meat chicken. And if you want to grind your own, all you have to do is trim off the fat, then cut the chicken into small pieces. Then with a big cleaver or a big chef's knife, chop, 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 go for it. Change the knife angle every once in a while, and also flip the chicken every once in a while and keep going until you get the right consistency. And for this, I actually like it to be quite a coarse grind so I still get chewy pieces in it, which is another reason why I like doing it myself. Sweet potato. For this recipe, I like using the yellow flesh sweet potato. So not the orange flesh one. So when you peel it, well, it's more like white flesh sweet potato. This one is ideal because it's starchier than the orange type, and so it'll make for a creamier filling, which is what we're going for. All you do with this is peel them and dice them into small pieces, and then you want to get it cooked off first by steaming it for 10 minutes. A fork will go right through it with no resistance, but you still want it to have sharp edges. You don't want it complete mush, okay? The rest of our ingredients are really super simple. I've got some fish sauce, some soy sauce, some small diced onion, and I've got some chopped up cilantro stems here. And I'm using stems instead of leaves because the leaves will turn black and mushy. They won't look very good. And the stems are so much more aromatic too. I've got curry powder right here. Any kind of curry powder that you like will work. So smell it. If it smells good to you, it'll work just fine. Some sugar to cut the salt and a little bit of white pepper for some subtle heat. And that is it. Let's get cooking. So I've got a wok with a little bit of vegetable oil here. I'm going to start with the onion. I'm going to cook the onion until it's nice and soft and sweet and translucent. I'm going to add just a pinch of salt. Adding salt at this stage helps draw the moisture out of the onion more quickly, and then it'll help them sweeten faster. So this filling is very similar to the Indian samosa. In fact, that's probably where the influence came from, but it differs in a few different ways, including the sweet potato, and I'm sure they don't put soy sauce in it, or fish sauce for that matter. So now that my onion is translucent, it's starting to brown around the edges. I'm going to throw in the curry powder. I'm going to let it toast in the oil to bloom the spices for literally 15 seconds. You don't want to burn that. Go in with the chicken. Now it's really important you don't have the heat too high when you add the curry powder because you'll burn it instantly. So once it's no longer clumpy, I'm gonna add my sweet potato and then all my seasoning. Fish sauce, soy sauce, sugar, and white pepper. Now, as you can see, there's quite a bit of liquid pooling at the bottom. Your goal now is to cook this until there's no more liquid pooling at the bottom, and also until the sweet potato starts to break down. And you notice that those sharp edges, they'll start to become a little mushy, a little creamy, and make our filling hold together better. Now you can start to see the potatoes losing the sharp edges now, but I'm not quite there yet because the filling is still quite crumbly. I want it to be a little creamier. And if the filling is dry and the potato hasn't quite broken down yet, just add a little splash of water. Give it a little something extra to work with. I'm liking the look of that. It's creamier now. The filling is starting to hold together better. So now I'm gonna go in with cilantro stems. Get that cooking a little bit just to distribute the flavor of the cilantro. And that's it. How easy is that? So now, taste. Because once it's wrapped, there is no going back. That's good. I'm just gonna add a little pinch of salt, and that should do it. All right, time to wrap these things. Whenever we work with spring rolls, our glue is an egg. So I'm gonna whisk the egg with my tiny little whisk, which is not really a whisk. I don't know what's the word for this thing. It's a spring whisk. That looks good. Wow, this thing is really efficient. So spring roll wrapper, I'm using the largest one, which is 10 inches or 25 centimeters according to the package, but it's really more like 24. So I'm gonna cut this now into 4 strips. Now, if you're nervous about getting them even, what you can also do is put a ruler here. And as you can see, it's 24 centimeters across. So each piece is gonna be about 6 centimeters. Okay, so now I've got even strips. Oh, if you cannot find a spring roll wrapper this size, you can go with the 8-inch one and cut them only to 3 pieces, okay? And they'll end up with less wrapper in the end of the day, but it'll work just okay. Now, we're gonna wrap these into little triangles, just like spanakopita, if you've made those, so it's the same technique. Sort of a rounded teaspoon of filling. And then you're gonna fold it into a triangle like this. And this triangle gets folded up. And then you repeat, pull it tight so everything is tight. And it gets easier as you reach the end. Brush it with the egg and one last flip. There you go. There's one nice little piece of curry puffs. And then you repeat the whole process. And if you know me, you know that this is my least favorite part. So if you've got kids or friends or other humans in the building, get them to help you. Now, if you think these little ones are too dainty and you want man-sized curry puffs, you can do that. So you're gonna cut these into 3 instead of 4. And then you can really fill it up. And then you start out the same, but I like to actually double wrap these because this part right here that only has 1 layer of wrap in it, and if you fry it like this, which you could, but you're gonna burn that really quickly, so that will be sort of a patch of brown that won't look as nice. All right, I've got my oil at 350 degrees and I finally found this thing which has been hiding in my house for a long time. So convenient, you can just clip it on. You always know how hot your oil is, so you can adjust accordingly. So I'm gonna go in, and they'll only take a few minutes. The filling is already cooked, so all you're trying to do here is get the wrap to be golden brown and beautiful. So when you have that, you can remove them and it's done. Check these out. They're golden, they're beautiful, and super crispy. So the big ones tend to fry up nicer than the small ones because there's more wrapper around it. Because the small ones have less wrap, sometimes you get little brown patches like this, which is okay if it's a little bit like that. It's okay, it's not a big deal. But with the big ones, that's why you want to double wrap these, okay? So the best thing to have with these is, of course, Sriracha hot sauce. Yes, and I have a recipe for it. I put that up a few weeks ago. These are the perfect combination of crispy on the outside and soft and creamy on the inside. The sweetness of the sweet potato really works well with the tart, sort of vinegary spiciness from the sriracha. Oh my god, these are so addictive. Promise you, you put these out, they'll be gone in no time. Oh, and if you want to bake it, you can do that as well. I'll put the instructions for baking in the written recipe, which is going to be on hatthaikitchen.com. And when you make it, please send me a photo and I will include a sample of them in the Hot Thai Kitchen newsletter. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can be alerted when I put up new videos. And I will see you next time for your next delicious Thai.